Port, the fortified wine from Portugal, is often thought of as a beverage to drink at the end of the meal, either sipped on its own or enjoyed with dessert. But the world of port is versatile, offering a diversity of styles as well as a diversity of producers. On this episode of Crush on This, we will share different port styles with you. Enjoy the video, give it a like, and subscribe to our channel for more. Port is a fortified wine produced in the north of Portugal. To make port, a grape-based spirit is added to the wine mid-fermentation, creating something sweeter and boozier than your typical wine. Then the port is put in the bottle or in barrels to obtain the desired color, sweetness, and flavor profiles.
Just as there is a variety of wines to choose from based on the occasion, the season, the food pairing, and the company, the same can be said about port. There's not just one style of port. In fact, there are several styles, including red, white, rosé, and tawny port. There are different aging, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and so on, and vintage ports.
Well, I'm going to start with white port, which seems kind of rare, but it's not as rare as you think. White port is made by blending white Portuguese grapes. And I have this very delicious Churchill's dry white Porto. It's a $20 white port. Churchill's is the youngest of the port houses. It was founded in 1981 by John Graham, who named the company after his wife, Caroline Churchill. The white port is a blend of grapes like Malvasia fina, Rabigotto, Codega, and Visogno, if I said that correctly. It spends 10 years in wood, and you can see through this clear glass bottle that it has this light golden color. And on the nose, you get orange peel, dried fruits and dates, nutmeg, citrus. It's really light bodied without, being aggressive, as it fills the mouth. And it's really fresh, and it's great with a chill. I put a chill on it. Now, this is a white port that I would pair with smoked salmon or olives or roasted almonds. You can also use this in a cocktail like a port tonic or a white Negroni. But then I have this white port. Look at the difference in color.
Wow.
So this is the Kopke 20-year-old white port. A little more expensive at $86, but this is actually the oldest of the port wine houses. So I've got the youngest and the oldest right here. And they were established in 1638 by a German family. And this, you get more of a bright amber yellow color. I get dried fruit, orange peel, toasted almonds, a little spice. And, if not mistaken, because it's aged in, 20 years, it takes on a little more color and notes like a tawny port, but as a white port, it doesn't have the same tannins that it does in a red wine. Yep. This wine is so smooth and elegant. It is long and rich. I mean, it is, I'm going to keep sipping this though.
I love white port, Allie. I love it. And a white port cocktail, the best refresher ever.
I would not put this one in a cocktail. I would serve
you're not going to use that? Okay. All
not right. This one. The first one I would. This one I would have served as an aperitif. I would pair it with foie gras, mushroom risotto, scallops, blue cheeses. Ooh. You can even do a creme brulee if you are really going to have it for dessert, but I'm taking you into the middle of the course. So that's white port.
Actually, you know what? When I was in Portugal a few weeks ago, we did have white port. Not a cocktail, but white port with a variety of cheeses and some, native foods from the region. And it was absolutely beautiful. So you're right. Try it.
So cocktail, aperitif, or aperitif for both.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about ruby port. This is fruity and, as its name suggests, generally a bright garnet color. Most are barrel aged for less than 3 years. So if you age ruby ports in barrels for 5 years, they become reserve ruby ports. And their rich fruity flavors are nuanced, and alcohol is softened by the time it's spent in wood. So these are excellent after dinner drinks for those times when you want to basically drink your dessert. So I hate to say that, but it's really true. So I want to talk about again, Graham's 6 Grapes Reserve Port. Look at that. I love the bottle. W&J Graham's has been an independent family business renowned for producing the finest port wines for over 200 years. In the 19th century, Graham's winemakers would mark the barrels of port using grape symbols to rate the wine from 1 to 6. So ergo, these 6 markings on the bottle. So having 6 of these symbols marked on the side of the barrel meant that the wine inside was complex, structured, balanced, and had vintage port potential. But the emblematic 6 grape symbol not only represents that historic moment on this bottle, but the new design actually kind of brings the wine forward to the next generation of port wine drinkers. So aged for 2 years in seasoned casks before bottling, 6 Grapes is known for its finesse and youthful blackberry fruit character. It's just delicious. It's a blend of 4 indigenous Douro Valley grape varieties: aromatic Touriga Franca, rich tannic and well-structured Touriga Nacional, raspberry tinged Tinta Roriz, and chocolate noted Tinta Barroca. The wine is full-bodied with fresh aromas of licorice and cassis. Really, it's just very, very special. The lush black fruit flavors lend this reserve ruby port to pairing with chocolate desserts and mature cheeses. So bring on the chocolate right now. I know I have some somewhere.
Well,
so how about you?
Yeah, well, when we're talking about ruby ports, another style is late bottle vintage ports, or LBV, like that, and it says LBV on it.
Beautiful.
And you know, the thing is that late bottle vintage ports are reserve ruby ports, but made with wines from a single harvest. So the fruity wines can be enjoyed anytime. They're great for consumers who want to drink a vintage port, but who don't want to wait decades for the vintage port to be ready to drink. Right. And so, as I said, I have the Taylor Fladgate 2015 late bottle vintage port. It's a $17 bottle port, very affordable. What?
Wow.
Super affordable. This is established, you know, Taylor Fladgate was established in 1692, and they are one of the oldest of the founding port houses, and actually pioneers in this category of late bottle vintage port. So if you're going to do an LBV, you can't go wrong with the Taylor Fladgate. It's a deep, deep, deep color. It is full-bodied in the nose. I mean, I can tell what's going to come on the palate. Yeah, super full-bodied, notes of cassis, spices, really dense, but it's luscious. There's a freshness to it. The tannins are super soft, and it just goes on and on the palate. But it's, you know, I also put a little chill. I put a chill on all my ports before I drink them.
Yes.
And I mean, this is almost a little too easy to drink, but
just go for it, Allie. Go for it.
I would pair this with any berry fruit dessert. I would pair it with cheesecake. I would go with cheese, and you know, like you, Cindy, I would go with chocolate. Why not?
Yeah. Let's go with a classic and then go to everything else.
Absolutely.
That's good. So reserve tawny ports are aged in barrels for at least 6 years, giving them a nuanced, nutty flavor and dark toffee colors. So tawny ports with indication of age mellow in barrels for 10, 20, 30, or 40 years before they're bottled.
Right. So I'm going to start with an example of a 10-year tawny port.
Okay.
This is the Sandeman, 10 years old tawny port. This is a wine that retails for about $29. Again, super affordable. The Sandemans, it was a house founded in 1790. And Sandemans, this is a blend of Tinta Amarella, Tinta Barroco, Tinta Roriz, Tinta Cao, Touriga Franca, and Touriga Nacional. And what's really cool is that it's this beautiful brick red color.
Wow, beautiful.
It has aromas like dried red currant, caramelized red fruits, prunes, nutmeg, a little hint of vanilla. And if you've ever been to Porto, Oporto, the city, Gaia, which is on the other side of the river, is where the port houses are. And Sandeman is one of the most famous, has been there the longest. I mean, they're established in Gaia. And if you take the cable car across, you will always see the Sandeman sign as you come in. It's hard to miss. And you don't want to miss it because this is quite delicious. So again, serving it chilled, I would do it aperitif. I would do it with a hard cheese or like an apple pie.
Oh,
apple
wow.
pie or baked figs, something caramely.
Oh,
Really work with. It's so rich and beautiful, but it's got this lovely acidity. And, it's just what I love about Tawny Ports. I like that kind of dried fruit and spice combined. It's just delicious. So that's a 10-year. What do you got, Cindy?
okay. So I have a Graham's 20-year Tawny Port right here, 20 years. And it's a reflection of the 3 essential arts of Tawny Port winemaking. Here you go. Blending the grapes, cooperage, oak program, and prolonged aging in the seasoned oak casks until it reaches their peak maturity. So those are the 3 key components of that. The result of the blending are enticing aromatics with what you said too, Allie, nutty characteristics, hints of orange peel, mature fruits. It's just so rich and vibrant and nice acidity and just a full mouthfeel. I just love it. Sweet yet smooth flavors give way to balance and elegance. And really, I mean, you could just pair this with so many things, like you said, creme brulee or anything with figs. I mean, figs are big in Portugal. So anything with figs, a fig, just a candied fig, beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've got a 30-year Tawny.
Oh my gosh.
This is the Dow's 30-year, just to
Wow.
show, like, can you hold up your glass a second?
Sure.
You've got a 10-year, a 20-year, and a 30-year. And you see the colors. I mean, it's a little hard to tell with our lighting, but they still have the redness, but they have a little, kind of golden and brown around the rim, and it gets more pronounced as the wine is aged. Now, the Dow family is part of the Symington family. They've been a part of it since the 20th century, but Dow's was founded in 1789 by Bruno da Silva, a Portuguese merchant from Porto. And this is a really rare port, so I'm really excited to have this. I opened it about a week ago, so I'm very willing to keep drinking it. There are only 6 or 7 casks in the cellar at any one time at Dow's that can be made to use this wine. So it kind of makes sense why this is a $115 bottle of wine, but it is beautifully elegant. It has aromas of citrus and dried fruit, little like cardamom and nutmeg and cigar box.
Those baking spices. Don't you just love those?
Totally.
Oh,
oh,
wow.
I mean, even with the age, it's so fresh and alive. Same thing. It's got that kind of lightly candied brown sugar, but that acidity and that tartness you get at the finish. If you were to take a spoonful of light brown sugar right now and let it melt on your palate, it's that finish that you get on the sugar, that sort of that acid and that tautness that is what I get in this, that makes this just incredibly, incredibly beautiful.
Well, if I had a choice between brown sugar and a glass of port, I'm going with the port. That's where I'm going.
Fair enough.
The oldest category is vintage port. Port declarations happen only when they believe that there are enough of the best grapes to bottle from the single harvest. Vintage ports are only produced 3 times per decade in what are considered the very best years. While each port house declares independently if they are going to declare a vintage, typically most houses declare the same vintages. Made under strict regulations, they're bottled after 2 years of cask aging, approximately 18 to 24 months after harvest. They're unfined and unfiltered. Declared vintage ports can age 30 or more years, and some even say 100 years. So I don't know about you, but I would pair, I would just drink it and just decide for myself. But after that, chocolate desserts or fatty cheeses, I think would be absolutely fabulous.
That's right. And the reason why we're not actually drinking a vintage port right now is that I know for myself, I happen to have a 98 that I have not, it's a Magnum, so I'm not going to open that up by myself.
No.
And I
No.
have two 2016 vintage ports. And so for both of those, you know, I've tasted them and they're drinkable, very drinkable right now, but I really want to hold on to them for a good, you know, 10, 15, 20 years and enjoy them with a little bit of age on them.
Well, call me when you're ready.
Absolutely. So I hope you understand that port is not just for dessert. With so many styles, there's a style and a flavor for all occasions and all palates. So do you have a favorite style of port? Is it a tawny? Is it a ruby? Is it a white port, a rosé? Give our video a like, share a style you like, and subscribe to our channel today. Cheers.